war has broken out below. And we were told to take the I.S.S. by any means necessary.
If we got orders from our government to take control.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 science fiction thriller I.S.S. or International Space Station. The film is directed by Gabriella Copperthwaite and it stars Ariana DeBose, Chris Messina, John Gallagher Jr., Costa Ronin and Pilau Azbek. And I know I've probably pronounced that terribly. Basically, the guy from Game of Thrones. Right. The film is set in the near future aboard the International Space Station. Now, historically, the International Space Station has been occupied by both American and Russian astronauts. And they kind of work and live up there together, and they have done for many, many decades. And then this one particular day, we're kind of made aware that there are tensions down on Earth between both the governments, and then war breaks out down on Earth between America and Russia. And both the Russian astronauts and the American astronauts pretty much at the same time receive messages from ground control basically telling them to take control of the International Space Station by any means necessary. And from that moment on, distrust rises, betrayals begin, and there is a fight for survival that takes place between both sets of the crew. Right, what are my thoughts on I.S.S.? Well, I like a good science fiction thriller. And the idea and the concept of this is pretty sound, and it does actually make quite a lot of sense. Obviously, tensions are high right now between, everybody in Russia because of what they're doing in the Ukraine. But, you could see this kind of happening. You know, what would happen in the event of war if the International Space Station is full of American and Russian astronauts, which it is. Would both people receive similar sets of instructions? And the reason, if you like, why the ground control from both governments give them these instructions as well, I forgot to mention, is they're doing like some experiments up there with bioweapons and antidotes to bioweapons, and they've made quite a significant breakthrough, and whoever controls that knowledge, the outcome of that experiment and the potential antidote could hold the key for either government winning this war. So they both see it as essential that the space station is taken control of either by the Americans or the Russians. So following that, you see the decline. I mean, because it makes a big thing at the beginning of this film to kind of show the camaraderie between them all. They all get on. They've all kind of banned talk of political issues and all that kind of stuff, just so they can get on as human beings. And then you see the result of this message and where their loyalties lie, some of them don't want to follow them orders, some of them feel like they have no choice, and then it's like, well, how are they going to do this? Whose life's going to be put at risk, and how are they going to do it? How are they going to take control? And that's how the rest of the film kind of plays out. And while I don't think this film is the most tense I think it could have been, I think a great example of a tension filled film that's kind of in a confined space is the one with Gene Hackman and Denzel Washington. The submarine film that they made, and believe it or not, the name has escaped me, but I'm just trying to look for it now. Crimson Tide, that's the one. My mind's I've not been well recently, so my mind's not working as it should. I think one of the best examples of a tension-filled film in a confined space like that is Crimson Tide. I mean, the tension gets so high in that film that you could almost touch it. I mean, it's edge of the seat stuff. And this film doesn't nearly tap into that sense of, apprehension, fear, tension, and distrust, and the whole raft of thing. And there's a few reasons for that. There's not as many people on the space station, obviously, as there was on the submarine in Crimson Tide, but the stakes are either just as high, or if not higher, on the space station than on the Crimson Tide submarine. So I think the film tries its best to kind of deliver high tension, but it kind of fails to deliver on that level, in the sense of, you're just not on the edge of your seat. You're not really sure who you can trust, and there is kind of a reveal close to the end that is not unexpected, is what I would probably say. I mean, there's obviously the film presents characters in this film that, the main protagonist of this film is the female character that I mentioned, whose name escapes me once again. That's it, Ariana DeBose. Her character is Dr. Kira Foster. She's like the main protagonist of this film. And there are certain characters that present themselves as characters she could trust. Some of them you believe, some of them that you don't. There's also one of those films where you think certain characters are dead, and then lo and behold, there that person is, and you just kind of like, hang on a minute, that might look nice on paper, but in reality, and how we know how things work in reality, that wouldn't have happened. So I think this is a good film. I like the concept, I like the premise, I thought the performances were all sound, the direction was of a good standard, and it certainly kept me interested throughout, if not thrilled, I suppose. So it is definitely worth checking out if you like a good sci-fi thriller. I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, please click the like button. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and I'll be back with more content very, very soon.